Good?
For what?
All right, we're going to get started. Welcome to everybody. It's nice to see everybody here. Braving the cold and the snow. For all of you, there's tea, peppermint tea and red clover mixed in your cups there. Or if you need a cup, Wendy is happy to send one your way. It's really good. Give it a try. It has a little bit of peppermint mocha creamer in it. So it's like a peppermint latte. It's really good.
Yeah, it's really good.
If you for some reason just want it with a little bit of honey, that's good too. So we can. Also, there's some herbal bites, like some protein bites over there. So they have ashwagandha and ginseng in them, and those are really good. So you don't always have to get your herbs, in tea or a capsule. You can put it in protein bites. Wendy takes those and uses them whenever she gets hungry. Also, in your little bag, if you're sitting at a table and you have a little bag, that's for you. That's from Herbal Rich. That's the company that my wife, myself, and my daughter, we started last year. Started it around March, April, somewhere around there. So we've been going strong since 8 or 9 months. What else? Oh, we have some herbal bread over there. So it's 100% whole wheat with dill and parsley. So how many of you know parsley is really good for you? Like, it's super concentrated phytochemicals in parsley. And how many of you ever heard how great kale is for you? So if parsley and kale got in a fight with each other, kale would lose. Yeah. So I'll show you that a little bit later on, of the different nutrients that are in parsley. So it's amazing stuff. So the name of our company is Herbal Rich. It's named after my father. He passed away about 2 years ago. And we've been doing herbs, working with herbs, ever since I was a little kid. I would sit at the table with my father, and back then, there wasn't the type of machinery that we have today, in working with herbs, but it was like these little tiny capsule makers. And, my dad someone would, talk to him about an issue they were having, some kind of problem, and he would make herbs for them, and I would help him. My grandfather also, my dad would take us out in the woods, and we would learn what the different plants were. And he would gather the plants, he'd dry them, or he would purchase them, and he would make herbs for someone with maybe they had a liver condition or something like that. So then I've been doing this for like 40 years. And so, when COVID started, what was that, 2020? I thought to myself that there has to be something in the plant kingdom that would be able to help with that situation. And we decided to make a formula that would be able to help with COVID. And that's kind of what propelled us into what we're doing today. Also, my wife, she was dealing with lupus and fibromyalgia, and she would get worn out very easily, and it would just break my heart to see her go through those types of situations. And I said, honey, can I experiment on you? And she was so gracious. She said yes. So it took a while, but we worked through a couple formulas, and she's so much better now. That when she goes to these different conventions, she's on the Women's Ministry Board of the Michigan Conference, And when she comes back, she's not so worn out anymore. She hasn't had, she's been in remission for a long time now. Yeah, and it was all because of God's healing herbs. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. So, how many of you are interested in herbal remedies? Okay. I mean, did someone drag you here, or are you here because... You must be because, you know... So let me just share this, because I have to. No content is intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. You should always seek the advice and guidance of a qualified health professional before changing or making any adjustment to any medication or treatment protocol you're currently using, stopping any medication or treatment protocol you're currently using. Right. Whether or not it was discussed in this PowerPoint, spoken verbally, or seen graphically, publicly or privately, or posted on the Herbal Ridge website. Educational content is informational and not as specifically applicable to any individual's medical problem, concerns, and or needs. These products have not been evaluated by the FDA and are not intended to treat or prevent disease. Now, we have to say that. They even have to say that. If you were a doctor, they would have to say the same thing. They can't guarantee that if you take a medication that it's going to heal you, right? I can't make that promise, right? But we can give hope, and we can lead in the right direction, and we can try to bring balance to the body. And that's what I believe herbs are all about. So after COVID, you know, my wife and I were talking. She said, why don't you see if there's a program out there, go to a school that can maybe, you know, further your education on this. You've been doing it for 40 years. You know, why not get legit? So I said, okay. So I started this program. It's 1,200 hours of instruction across various topics of medicine making, right, materia medica, herbal therapeutics, herbal actions, nutrition, foraging, herbal business basics, all these different things. I have to pass all my quizzes at 80%. I pass all my quizzes at 100%. I just have to, you know, I want to. Also, now I'm working with individuals, consultating, and I have to have a working knowledge of 150 medical herbs. I have to demonstrate this understanding in a clinical application. I have to have 400 hours of clinical experience, supervised, structured mentorship, and that's what I'm doing right now at this time. So the question is, why herbs? And you already said that you believe in herbs, you believe in herbal remedies, but let me just share with you a quote that I just received in an email. It was very exciting, and this is what they said. So they consulted with me. They were having kidney issues, and this is what he said. He said, this is the follow-up of my blood work. I will send the actual documents after Sabbath, but here is the summary from ChatGPT. So he took all his labs that he got back, his blood work, he plugged it all into ChatGPT, and this is what it came back. He said, it says your eGFR improving from 48 to 60 in 6 months is excellent news. Now your GFSR, it tells you how well your kidneys are filtering your blood, right? Getting the impurities out of your blood. His kidneys were at a 48, which means they weren't filtering very well. So it says here that in 6 months, it's excellent news, and it coincides with starting your herbal protocol. It suggests your kidneys are responding positively, likely from a combination of herbs, medicines, and lifestyle. Now that is amazing, and that is good news. He says, thank you, Eric. The leaves truly heal. Now, that message there, the leaves truly heal, that is a verse from the Bible that I put on all my materials. And the verse is from Revelation. It says that the herbs, or the tree, is for the healing of the nations. Amen. And so, because when you're dealing with herbs, you can't say that an herb can heal. So I can't use the word heal on my products, but I say the herbs are for the blessings of the nations. So the herbs are for blessing. I truly believe that. And So I went on ChatGPT and I said, how significant is it for him to, in 6 months, for his kidneys to go 12 points to the good? And it said, rarely does that happen. If you're filtering at a 48, for you to go, usually you go the opposite way. For you to go in the positive is a wonderful thing. I'm excited about that. And I've seen herbs help many, many people. So you're talking, Alyssa said that you're talking about choices, right? You're doing creation health here, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And choices, and so you're talking about choice and rest and environment, activity, trust, interpersonal relationships, outlook, and nutrition. And then there's another one, right? It's New Start. How many of you know the New Start acronym? Okay, it's nutrition, right? Same with the exercise, water, sunshine, temperance, air, rest, trust in God. I decided to come up with my own acronym for Herbal Rich. And it's healing nutrition, energizing movement, restorative hydration, bask in natural light, abstinence and self-control, living air, rhythms of rest, inspired trust, and Christ-centered living, and hope renewed. So, God is the only thing that touches every one of those. Do you believe that? We need to invite God into our lifestyles. But as I was thinking about this, nutrition, well, herbs are full of phytochemicals and antioxidants, and they're just full of nutrition, vitamins and minerals, all kinds of things. Exercise. Did you know there's herbs that will help you with your movement, with arthritis, with joint health, with bone density? There's horsetail. Anybody ever heard of horsetail? Oat straw. It's full of silica, which your joints need. And water. What about tea? You're getting your water with your herbs, right? That's tea. You can get it through baths. Everything is extracted through water. What about sunshine? There's lots of vitamin D in plants, right? And they soak in the sunlight, and then you take that in your body, and it does your body good. What about temperance? There's herbs that help with satiety and sexual appetite. Now, I'm not recommending anybody here to go home, especially the men, and eat a bunch of sage because that will give you impotency. But there's herbs that help with that. There's blood sugar that actually tame blood sugar, calm your blood sugar down. There's herbs that help with smoking, right? That take away the cravings of some kind of like alcohol or tobacco habit. So we're covering temperance. And what about air? There's herbs that open and dilate your lungs, your blood vessels. Plants, they give off oxygen, right? But they breathe in carbon dioxide. Excuse me, I gotta have a sip of tea. This is a good time for us to take a sip of tea. By the way, how do you like the red clover and the peppermint combined?
Oh, it's so good. Delicious.
Anybody need some more? Anybody need a refill? It's over there. All right. This is what Ellen White says. She says the true method for healing the sick is to tell them of the herbs that grow for the benefit of man. And this is in the book, The Place of Herbs in Rational Therapy. She says scientists have attached large names to these simplest preparations, but true education will lead us to teach the sick that they need not call in a doctor any more than they would call in a lawyer. They can themselves administer the simplest herbs if necessary. How many of you have your lawyer on speed dial today? Anybody? What about you? Got your lawyer on speed dial? You just raised your hand because you wanted to be the. But we don't, but what about our doctors though? Right? It seems to be an increase in need there. But there are simple remedies out there, aren't there? So this is modern science now. It says here, and this is from the Peterson Field Guide. This is the premier field guide for medicinal herbs. The best field guide that you can buy. Okay? It says there that herbs in their whole form, rather than just a single chemical derived from them, have come to play an important role in healthcare. So scientists are now looking at the plants, right? They're not just looking at singly derived chemicals. It says much modern research on herbal medicines or phytomedicines have been stimulated by European interests. A phytomedicine is an herb product that represents the totality of chemical constituents in an herb or a plant. So instead of dissecting a plant, there's an abundance of blessing in the whole medicinal herb instead of cutting it apart. So rather than a single isolated chemical component, phytotherapy, the practice of herbal medicine, is most highly developed in Germany, where over 70% of physicians prescribe herb products and medical students are required to pass a section of phytomedicine in licensure exams. Now, in the United States, I don't want to read it all, but I can summarize. You can read it. In the United States, right, rather than they're more interested in prescription drugs. Why? Because they can patent a single isolated component, but they can't patent echinacea because it has thousands of chemical components, plant chemicals in it. So they're not interested in that type of research. But the research is being driven by European states, right? And also some third world countries like India and China, because they don't have all the access to modern healthcare, which, you know, a lot of the pharmaceuticals are made in Europe. They ship it to us where we use it, and a lot of the plant-based type medicines are shipped over there. And they're a lot healthier, and we're a lot sicker. So this is where the thrust is of my education. I'm looking at whole plants, right, and whole plant medicine. But there's, so people today, and what I'm going to say, I think the pharmaceutical companies are driving this to take herbs and to use them like drugs. Okay? What do I mean by that? Now this is in the news right now. Right? This is from National Geographic, Medical News Today, and Michigan Medicine. So this is what they're saying, that liver problems are linked to supplement use. This is on the rise. And then it talks about, in Medical News Today, 6 popular herbal supplements that are linked to liver risks. And then the other one in Michigan Medicine, it says that supplements are responsible for 20% of drug-induced liver injury in the United States. So people are going to the emergency room, they're having liver issues, they don't know why, their skin is maybe turning a little bit yellow, and they go in there and go, what's going on with me? Why am I having liver issues? And when they trace it back, they're tracing it to their supplement use. Why? Aren't herbs really good for you? Well, yes, they are, but what they're doing is they're taking extracts. They're extracting it, and they're making these herb products that they're selling as potent, as powerful as possible. And your body wasn't made to get that every day, 360 days out of the year, every day, day in and day out. Does that make sense? It's serious and it's dangerous. So what are those herbs that are people taking? They're sending people to the hospital. Ashwagandha, turmeric, cinnamon, black cohosh. That one, Garcinia cambogia, green tea extract, and red yeast rice. Now look at this, like berberine here, 1,300 milligrams per serving. Ashwagandha, where it says 4,500 milligrams per serving. Do you see that? And our bodies weren't made, the herbs, our bodies were made for variations, right? So when you like, let's just say dandelion. How many of you have ever taken dandelion? How many of you ever had dandelion greens? Okay. They're delicious. It's one of the most powerful herbs that you can ever take. I think the Lord loves Christians because there's so many dandelions in their yards. Don't kill the dandelions. Eat the dandelions. The whole plant, you can eat the whole plant. From the roots all the way to the tops. But don't eat it once they turn into that like cotton candy, seeds where you blow it. That's not going to taste good. But you can eat the tops. It's really good for you. So we were made. So if you went out there and you just took a dandelion plant and you compared it to another dandelion plant, they would all have different constituents in it, different types of chemicals, and that's what your body is supposed to have. It's not supposed to have standardized extracts, 4,500 milligrams of the same, chemical every day, and that's what's hurting people. So let's just say, if you're taking something like this, you need to take it maybe 2 weeks on and 1 week off. 2 weeks on, 1 week off. Okay? And that way you protect yourself. You allow your liver to build back up again. Okay? And then you're still getting the benefits from it. Something else, when you separate, how many of you have ever taken, let's just say like basil, and you mix it with a little water, you put it under your tongue, a little basil oil, or you put it with olive oil. Anybody? You? Okay. And that's called the volatile. That's the volatile compound of the plant. That's the fat soluble component of the plant. But you're only getting maybe 10% of what's in the plant that can actually help you. Okay? So when you separate the essential oil from the plant, you're missing the other plant compounds, as essential oil extract methods primarily isolate the volatile aromatic compounds. So when you take that out, what you're leaving behind is the vitamins, the minerals, the antioxidants, the phytochemicals, and everything else that's in the plant. So what is the best way to take your herbs? Anybody?
Tea.
Tea. It's a tea break. Do you see the picture in the cup there? Do you see like the oil slick, the little oil slicks on top? That's the those are the volatile components. Those are the fat soluble components, and you drink that, and you get it along with everything else, and then you get a whole plant, right? Which is all of it is good for you, which is what you're getting from the peppermint and the red clover. Does that make sense? You guys with me?
Yeah.
Okay. Something else, when I mix herbs for people, when I do a consultation, you don't mix them thoroughly. Again, so you get a little variation. You see the color variation there, and when people take those, then again, you're protecting your body. You're still getting all those wonderful chemicals and components and health-saving properties, but you're protecting your liver and your kidneys. So this slide is up there because I have 10 references. You can see those 10 references, and they're from the National Institute of Health or PubMed or Frontiers in Pharmacology, and all. I mean, these are legit sources there, but it basically is saying there that herbal medicinal herbs, right, are not just fringe anymore, but they're widely accepted and they're available to doctors and pharmacists and consumers as another tool for promoting health and wellness. So what is increasing this awareness of herbs and how wonderful and powerful they are? What's driving this? Right? You see this almost everywhere now, right? So what is it? It's that they did head-to-head controlled clinical trials. So they compared St. John's wort, right, and they compared that to prescription antidepressants for the treatment of mild to moderate forms of depression, and they found out that St. John's wort was better or just as good as the prescription drugs. And so much so that St. John's wort preparations, they outsell prescription antidepressants by 20 to 1 in Germany. What else? So they did other head-to-head trials. Sao palmetto fruit extracts have been shown to be effective and safe as prescription drugs for the treatment of benign prostate hyperplasia, which is a non-malignant enlargement of the prostate. So, and that's for men 50 and over. So it's approved, right? These Sao palmetto preparations are approved for use in Germany, France, and Italy. And they're just as effective. And if you combine them with nettle and other herbs, it's amazing what the outcome is. So I have the lab results of an anonymous person here. They went in for their PSA. They're over 50 years old, right? And they're out of control. Their PSA is just out of control. It's supposed to be in the green area, but it's 19.23. We put them on a Sao palmetto nettle combination, and in 2 weeks, their PSA went down to 2.54. You say, well, that might be a fluke, right? So we tracked it for a couple years. It went down to 2.42. It went down to 1.17. It went down to 0.87. And that's for benign prostate hyperplasia. Okay? So, in working with people, we come up with these formulas, right? Is Sao palmetto, nettle, golden seal, ginseng, marshmallow root, and C-rat, right? And we called it Man Vital, and now we're selling it to people that need it for the whatever that for that reason. But it was because we were helping someone. And in doing the research, we found out that these things were very beneficial. So there's a study I want to go over with you, and this is from Dr. William Lee. Anybody ever heard of Dr. William Lee? Okay. And he's a world-renowned cancer researcher. And he did a TED Talk, and it was the subject of his TED Talk was, "Can we eat to starve cancer?" So he developed a test system for anti-angiogenic chemicals. So angiogenesis, how many of you know what angiogenesis is? Angiogenesis, let's just say you bumped your leg, like I'm walking over here and Alex comes over here and he bumps me in the leg. It's probably what would really happen. Alex would do it. And all of a sudden, I get this bruise here, but I need to increase blood flow for healing in that area. So what my body does is it creates blood vessels, additional blood vessels there, that eventually they die out once the area is healed. And that's called angiogenesis. Well, what happens is you don't want angiogenesis when it comes to cancer, because the extra blood vessels can go and they can feed the cancer, and then the cancer doesn't die and the cancer grows. So he said, well, is there things that we can do, right, to stop this angiogenesis? We're looking for anti-angiogenesis, drugs or herbs. And so he came up with this test in the lab where he would grow these cancer cells, right? And you're looking at on the left there, or my right, your left, right? Of these glob of cancer cells, right? And you see the blood vessels are growing out from it, feeding these cancer cells. And so he said, well, let's test resveratrol. And you get that from red grapes, right? It's one of the antioxidants from grapes, and it inhibited the angiogenesis. So you see there, it reduced the amount of blood vessels there by 60%. So here we see the same study, but this time he used genistein, which is from soybeans. And you can see it totally stopped the angiogenesis, feeding the cancer. And then he used ellagic acid from strawberries, and it did the same thing. So he said, wow, there's something here. And he kept on studying. And so he said, well, what about tea? So he took dragon pearl, right? Dragon, pearl, jasmine. Now, I don't even agree with these as being medicinal teas, okay? But this is what they use, so this is what I'm sharing with you. He used sencha, Earl Grey, and then he blended the two on the left, the jasmine and the sencha, because they weren't effective, and he blended those together, and he said, well, what's going to be the outcome of that? Well, when you looked at the dragon pearl, it had a pretty good effect on, right, anti-angiogenic, and the sencha did pretty good. That was anti-angiogenic. Earl Grey was really anti-angiogenic, but when he mixed the sencha and the jasmine together, he got a better outcome. And what does that mean? So when we blend our herbs, which I was talking to you about earlier, when we blend them together, you get a better outcome. So think about this. It's a biblical principle, right? The Bible says that a trifold cord says, woe unto him who is alone, right? Two are better than one, and a trifold cord is not easily broken. So in all my herbal formulas, I try to have at least three. Okay? Three working together, because then you're going to end up with something amazing. So look at this. So here is some more data, right? These are cancer drugs that are anti-angiogenic. So on the left, you see the small one, the little small bar? You want less angiogenesis, right? You don't want a lot of that, because that means you're feeding the disease. So less is more. So down there at the bottom, the cancer drugs, this is how well they work on angiogenesis, as far as growth goes. And that looks good. These are cancer drugs. So then he put in these other statins and non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. He put those together, and you can see those are the yellow bars. And, down at the bottom, you can see, right, those are the better ones. But as you go to the top, those are the ones that hardly have any effect on stopping the angiogenesis process, okay? Now, the next one's going to blow your mind. Watch this. This is exciting. Then he put in soy, parsley, garlic, grapes, and berries. Do you see that right here? Parsley, soy, garlic, red grapes, citrus. They had just as much or better or the same effect as the cancer drugs. So his thesis, can we eat to starve cancer? Can we? Yeah. Can we use herbs to help us to have hope and to have better life? Yes. This is exciting stuff. And this is what he says. And I'm just going to read this. This is his quote. Dr. William Lee, world-renowned cancer researcher. He says, the good news is, before we get into the bad news, is that the cancer patients today, if they have an oncologist who is really on the cutting edge, they have a better chance of licking their disease and getting breakthroughs, though it's not by killing their cancer. So, back when in the 70s and 80s, what did they do? They would give you radiation or what? Chemo. And, what effect did that have? It wasn't very helpful. Another tea break. But now there's a switch going on in modern medicine that says we need this trifold cord. Okay, they don't say that because, I don't know if they believe in the Bible or not, but they're saying if we put our drugs together, so most drug therapies today are they'll use chemo and radiation together. And that's more effective on the cancer. But then they said, you know what? We're thinking, what we're doing is we're trying to kill the cancer, and that's not working as well as if we were trying to heal the body. Because the body has the ability in itself to get rid of that. So the focus now is not by killing the cancer, but by healing the body. And that he says, this is something I'm very bullish about. This is what herbs are all about. Medicinal herbs are about bringing balance to the body, bringing healing to the body. So there's this paradigm shift. By the way, I'm not against modern medicine. Okay, if the Lord wants to heal you through modern medicine, I say, amen. If the Lord wants to heal you through medicinal herbs, I say, amen. And if the Lord wants to heal you through a combination of modern medicine and medicinal herbs, we say, amen. Amen. So we're not down on anything, especially because in today's modern scientific research, the modern medicine, a lot of them are turning to medicinal herbs. And a lot of the therapies today are brought about by medicinal herbs. It just depends on your doctor. Now, the whole medical system seems to be falling apart. And we have to be our own advocates. We have to research. And it's never been easier for us to research into modern herbs. And I'm going to get to some very wonderful herbs that you guys can very simply, just rotate into your lifestyle. And they're going to be very beneficial, very helpful to you. Right? Here's another doctor. This is Dr. Casey Means. She says, our cells have tiny protein machines that repair DNA mistakes when cells divide. These repair enzymes need nutrients like zinc, B vitamins, and magnesium to work properly. However, many people don't get enough of these nutrients due to the processed foods and nutrient-depleted diets. Do you believe that? Now, I'm for vegan and vegetarian cooking. Anybody here love vegan, vegetarian cooking? All right, come on, don't be ashamed if you're like, okay. But I've been to our potlucks. Your tater tot casserole isn't going to cut it anymore. You understand what I'm saying? We need more nutrients. And everything is depleted. And you can't eat enough kale salad. Because that's one meal. You might have that once a week. So you got to double down. You got to have nutrients. So this, again, this was a question that came up when I was speaking at Women's Ministry. And they said, well, what about nutrients? Are there herbs that are nutrient dense? And so I researched this out and we came up with NutriDense. So, and whole plant vitamins. Now, the vitamins that you get from the store, most of them are grown from coal oil. And you say, well, that's kind of gross. How many of you knew that? Anybody? Why is it grown from coal oil? It's funny, because coal and oil come from plants. And so they'll synthesize it, right? They'll synthesize it, right? And they'll have all these chemical processes to grow these vitamins and minerals from old dinosaurs. Or old trees. Coal comes from trees and plants. And then they'll give them to us. I say, why not just get it from fresh plants today? So I said, well, alfalfa, their roots go into the ground like almost 30 feet at times. Right? That is very nutrient dense. And look at this. Look at it. And then I said, nettle. Well, there's nothing better and nutritional for you than nettle. The old timers used to eat nettle in the spring because they knew over the winter they needed something potent and powerful to get them going again, because it was spring and it was time for planting, and so they would take and they would gather up the nettles, although very carefully because they would sting you. And then dandelion, which is God's gift to mankind, they are studying dandelion like crazy today in the labs. They want to replace some of them soybeans because it's so high in protein that they want to make cakes out of it. And again, they want to process it and then sell it to you guys, when it's just such a nutrient dense food. And I thought, well, if you combine these three herbs together, right? I mean, look at it. All your essential amino acids, all your non-essential amino acids, and also all your plant chemicals, saponins, and phytoestrogens, and flavonoids, and antioxidants, everything is contained. This is your RDA, recommended daily allowance. And then here is, what's in the plants. By the way, just because you get a multivitamin doesn't mean you're going to absorb what's in that multivitamin. It has to do with your body and your body chemistry. And how many of you know that magnesium and calcium, they compete with one another for absorption? So if you have one, you're not going to get the other. And some minerals and some vitamins, they will react on each other. So if you have too much of this one, it will take it out of your body another vitamin or mineral. I say whole, living, plant-based vitamins to get the nutrients our bodies need. God put them in the plants in the levels that He knew that our bodies could absorb. And also, I want you guys to have resources. It's called the Herbal Rich Journal. It's on our website, herbalrich.com, where I write about these things. I send out a blog. By the way, you guys pass this around, will you? Put your email on there so I can put you on the mailing list. Could you guys pass that around, please?
Thank you.
So if you really want to get maximum absorption, when you take your multivitamin, let's just say you're taking some Nutridents, okay? Take it with a little bit of Greek yogurt. And I don't mean the sugar stuff. I mean like the plain or the vanilla. If you take it with Greek yogurt, all that will activate your stomach enzymes and it will help you absorb. And if you want to get even more absorption and more nutrients in your body, take it with a little bit of flax oil. That'll get your heart going, your omega-3s, and the oil will also help your body process those herbs. You have to absorb your nutrients through calories. You just can't put oyster shells in your body and expect your body it'll go, what is this? It'll give you a kidney stone, You got to be careful about this. Your body has to absorb through calories, okay? Does that make sense? We want to see people healthy. So I believe, these things the Bible wrote about thousands of years ago. Even in the book of Ezekiel, 47 verse 12, it says there that the fruit should be for our meat, right? We should eat the fruit, right? And the leaves should be for our what? Medicine. The leaves are for our medicine. In Revelation, this is the Bible verse that's on all my products, right? The tree there, the leaves of the tree are for the healing or the blessing of nations. In Isaiah, remember the story about Isaiah in the Bible where he was going to die? And now God could have healed Isaiah any way he wanted to. I mean, God knew about modern medicine. He could have snapped his fingers. He could have spoke the word and he could have been healed, right? But he didn't. What did he do? He told him to do something kind of crazy, right? He said, take a lump of figs, lay it in he said, basically, take some figs and make a poultice. And lay it on his boil, and he's going to recover. I think, are you serious? The Lord has, it didn't strain the Lord to know what to do in this case, did it? He just knew right away what to do. He said, figs. There's something in figs that will heal that boil. And this is what it says in Selected Messages, the second Selected Messages, page 286. It says, when the Lord told Hezekiah that he would spare his life 15 years, right? And then he asked for a sign. He says, I'm skipping down, he says, he told him to apply a bunch of figs to his sore, and that natural remedy, blessed by God, healed him. The God of nature directs the human agent to use natural remedies now. And again, Here's the place of herbs in rational therapy. There are simple herbs and roots that every family may use for themselves and need not call a physician any sooner than they would call a lawyer. I wonder what she would say today. It says here, another place, the Lord has given simple herbs of the field that at times. Now, that jumped out to me. Did that jump out to you? We don't want it every day. You see that? Unless you're using it as food, right? So if you're taking something that is been extracted and made to be the most potent extract, you're not to use it all the time. She says, if for something like that, that's a medicine, right? She says, but there are herbs, right, that at times are beneficial. Right? At times, we need an intervention, right? And she says, if we would use them, if the families were educated in how to use these herbs in case of sickness, much suffering might be prevented. These old-fashioned, it seems like old-fashioned, right? We're just archaic when we talk about herbs. I don't think so. I think we're cutting edge. These old-fashioned, simple herbs used intelligently would have recovered many sick who have died under drug medication. And I'm going to keep moving on. Now, this is what Ellen White said. Ellen White believed in herbs. She used red clover tea. She says, I've always used red clover top. And she says, I offer you this. As I told you, that it was good, simple, and a wholesome drink. You guys had red clover tea. I think I'm going to have some right now. It's really good. Okay, you guys can have one too. She said it's good. But here's the thing. You know, I love these old books, but I want to check it out. We got to check it out. And how many of you ever seen this book, Back to Eden? Okay. This is written by Jethro Cross, written back in the 1800s. And, you know, he says this in that book. He says, red clover is one of God's greatest blessings to man. Very pleasant to take and a wonderful blood purifier. Okay? It balances the blood. If we really needed, as an old term, if we really needed our blood purified, we'd be septic, right? And we would die. But it's saying it balances the blood and it puts everything back in the blood that we need in order to be healthy, right? And he says, used alone is it's excellent for cancer of the stomach, whooping cough, and various spasms. And he goes on to say, so he says the red clover is wonderful, right? One of the greatest blessings to mankind. So now we're looking for that what? Trifold cord, right? We have two that are stating that red clover is really good for us. Well, I don't believe it yet. I want to check it out. You got to check out all your herbs, medicinal herbs, with modern science. Okay? Check it out. So I'm going to go to the Peterson Field Guide. It's the best, right, selling field guide of all times for more than 85 years. It's a trusted source. Okay? This is what it says in the Peterson Field Guide about red clover. It says that red clover contains many biologically active compounds, including phytoestrogenic isoflavones such as genistein, daidzein, formononetin, biocainin A, among others. Epidemiological studies provide evidence that certain dietary components can have a significant effect in the incidence and locations of cancers in humans. A laboratory study found that biocainin A inhibits the activation of cancer. So now you have your threefold cord telling you that, hey, red clover might be a really good herb to have in my house. You know what? It might be really good to drink that, to have that instead of coffee in the morning. To drink some peppermint red clover, that'll get me going.
Yeah.
All right? So let's look at biocainin A. According to this study, it says that this extract, red clover, can decrease the proliferation and viability of cancer cells by decreasing serum levels of inflammatory cytokines. What are inflammatory cytokines? Cytokines are messengers. They're the ones that tell your body that, hey, there's something wrong here. You know, Alex just hit my leg, boom, you know, and he gave me a bump here. And so we need to get the inflammation going to increase blood flow, right? But there's a problem. They're like the fire department, okay? They come in there and they bring the healing. But what happens if the fire department never leaves? Then you have a real problem, right? Because then it gets inflamed, and then you create this environment that cancer can survive in, right? So, inflammatory cytokines increase cancer by promoting tumor cell proliferation, including creating a favorable environment for cancer cell growth. So what does biocainin A do? It decreases the messengers. So biocainin A is a bioactive isoflavone found in red clover. Hey, I got this recipe I wanted to try out on you guys. Maybe I'll bring it next week. Show of hands, but I got to tell you what's in it. I got this great bean soup recipe. I'm working on a cookbook where I'm going to put herbs in food, you know, like regular food. So I got this bean soup. And did you know red clover is a legume? Did you know it's in the same family as lentils? So I make this great bean soup, and I put the lentils in it, you know, the beans, and then I put the parsley, and I just put a ton of parsley. And guess what? I'm putting the red clover in too, because it's a legume. Do you think you guys would like to try that next week? Yeah. I tried it this week. I didn't tell anybody at my church that it was in there, but they ate 3/4 of it. So, we'll see. So look at this. It's anti-cancer. So this is in red clover. It can prevent the growth of cancer cells and induce apoptosis or cell death, which is important, right? If you have a cancer cell, you want it to die and not to grow, right? It may be effective against breast, pancreatic, liver, and prostate cancers. It's neuroprotective. It's an antioxidant. It's antimicrobial. It's hepatoprotective. That means it protects the liver. It's anti-hyperglycemic, right? It helps regulate the blood sugar, in other words. It's osteogenic, right? It helps your bones to stay healthy. So it helps the lining of your blood vessels. So all the information that I'm giving you is from these books. I just want to, if you have a cell phone, you might want to take, before I go to the next herbs that I'm going to tell you about. So you definitely want peppermint. You definitely want red clover. Okay? So this is a great book that I read, Herbal Antibiotics. I'm going. Here's some other books, right? The Mind-Gut Connection. And all your research. So I'm going to give you, like, it's so easy to do research today. You know, Science Direct, the Oxford Academic Journal, right? The National Library of Medicine, Mount Sinai, Cleveland Clinic. Yes?
Can we go 2 slides back? We just want to picture the book.
All right, we can go 2 slides back. This is the last time.
Thank you.
Is this it? Or am I
Yeah.
Thank you.
University.
Too quick there.
No, it's good. I'd rather you take pictures than not take pictures, right? Like if your head was laying on the table like this, you know, it'd be time to pack it up. So, you know, Cleveland Clinic, right, Johns Hopkins, and the Mayo Clinic, they're all researching herbs now. And you can go on there. And by the way, the Mayo Clinic and Cleveland Clinic are the best hospitals in the United States right now. All right. And we already talked about this. There's an overload in the healthcare system. I don't think AI is going to help anything. You know, because you've heard of the babies in Ukraine where they just put a bunch of babies in the incubators and they left them alone and they all died. Remember this story? Because they were missing the human touch, right? Human care, right? They're trying to take the human aspect out of healthcare, and it's not going to work. So as I told you earlier in the beginning, what got us started this was COVID-19, and people were just dropping like flies. And you found out that people, they would go to the hospital for flu, but they would end up dying of pneumonia, right? They would get some kind of secondary infection, and you know, I was afraid. I was sincerely afraid for our church. So I said, Lord, there's got to be something. You know about this. There's got to be plants out there that can help with flu, with COVID. They might not call it COVID in the old books, but they probably called it like flu, influenza. I mean, what about what was it, the 1920 flu? What one was that?
Spanish flu.
Huh? Spanish flu, yeah. So anyway, so I'm going to give you some herbs now, and I'm going to tell you about it. But as I tell you about it, I use these herbs as an example, right, of all the chemicals that are in the herbs that we're going to talk about. Okay. Here we go. Mullein. Mullein, if you have asthma, you need mullein. Okay? If you have any kind of bronchial, any type of, having it hard to breathe or something like that, you need to take mullein. Okay, mullein tea. We put it in Immune Guard. This thing has traveled all over Michigan and all across the United States. And I thought, wow, Lord, you're really using this stuff. So, antiviral. Lab studies have shown that mullein, it has antiviral activity against influenza A and herpes. Look at this. Antibacterial properties. Lab studies have shown that mullein leaf has antibacterial properties in both gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. Now, gram-positive bacteria is something that can be like you be cured by an antibiotic. You go into the doctor, he gives you an antibiotic for a gram-positive, and you better hope that whatever you have is gram-positive. Okay, and so what I'm saying, when you take an antibiotic, it's an isolated antibiotic. It's a synthesized antibiotic chemical, right? Now, if you take mullein, there's 1,000 chemicals in there, right, that are antiviral, antibacterial, right, that influenza or COVID have never seen before. It's not synthesized. So when you take that, you know, when they say that it's drug resistant, well, it's not resistant to mullein. Does that make sense? Because it hasn't been synthesized. Okay, so but a gram-negative bacteria is a bacteria that has two outer shells. And so that outer shell protects it, you know, that it won't die, because if something like the antibiotic gets through, right, it can't get through the second layer. So it's a gram-negative bacteria, and that's Klebsiella pneumonia. This is the kind of pneumonia that people were getting in the hospital that was killing them. E. coli, Staphylococcus aureus. So mullein has been found to help with bronchitis and asthma and inflammation and all kinds of things. So what is in mullein? It has saponins, iridoids, phenolethanoids, glycosides, flavonoids, right? And phenolethanoids are your vitamins, okay? And glycosides are your essential oils and your flavonoids, right? All these are just plant chemicals, and they're all inside mullein. And God designed it that way. Plus, there's all kinds of vitamin C and minerals. Saponins. Saponins, what is that? It's like where you get like lather from. It's like the soapy type chemicals in the plants, right? So they reduce cholesterol. They're cancer prevention. They're anti-inflammatory. They're antimicrobial, right? They help the immune system. And you can read all that it does there. They protect the liver. Aspirin. In mullein, there's salicylic acid, which is where we get aspirin from. From salicylates, the simplest of which is salicylic acid, right? The principal metabolite of aspirin, right? And so they're finding if you take an aspirin a day, that it's good for colorectal cancer. But I'd say, why not take some mullein? So iridoids are neuroprotective, anti-tumor. They're good to decrease blood lipids, lower blood glucose. So they did in vitro and in vivo studies. So in vitro is in a petri dish. In vivo is inside the body. Right? And so they did these studies and they revealed that these iridoids have neuroprotective, anti-inflammatory, immunomodulating, liver protective, and they have this ability to protect the liver from damage. They're cardioprotective, anti-cancer. Can you believe it? I mean, I can go on and on. You can read it. We don't have time. I got 400 slides, and I'm not even going to try to get through them today, for your sake. Phenolphthaleinoids, right? Again, these are your different pathways. So think about your body as an extractor. Your body is so amazing that you need to have your stomach, the stomach acid, the small intestine, the liver, and all this to extract all these things from the plants. And your body is amazing and works like a miracle to get all these chemicals out of the plants. And God put them in there. I'm so amazed by it. So, some of these chemicals are carbon-based. Some of them are fat-based. Some of them are, water-based. So they're all different. Some of them are, did I say alcohol already? Alcohol-based. So phenolphthaleinoids, they're antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. They're neuroprotective, cardioprotective. Glycosides, again, these are your essential oils. Did you know that the essential oils that you get, most of them, and most of like canola oil, that they get that through like what is this like industrial type acetone. It's acetone. So they'll take acetone to get the oil out of these seeds and these essential oils out of the plants, and they'll use acetone to get it out, and then they'll evaporate the acetone, and if there's less than like 0.2%, 0.02% acetone left in there, then they say it's completely safe. So I don't know, that kind of bothers me a little bit. So that's why, you want the whole plant, right? You want the whole plant. So glycosides, so it's good fat, right? It's good fat. They're cardiovascular. I need some. I'm going to get some right now. Okay. Anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer, antioxidants, and analgesic. You know what an analgesic is? Okay, they're going to help with pain. Your body needs it. They're good for weight loss. Flavonoids, and this is all, we're just talking about mullein. Flavonoids, but it's the same way in all plants, right? It's especially medicinal herbs. Flavonoids, vitamins, and minerals. Let's talk about the next ingredient in the COVID herbs. What is it called now? It's not called COVID herbs anymore, is it? Immune defense. Can't call it COVID herbs. That's against the law. I can say it here, but I can't sell it, and say that it works against COVID because of the law. Okay, so valerian. Valerian was used in place of quinine, because it's so calming. It's a hypnotic, that it just calms the body down. Valerian, right? It's a sedative. It's anti-inflammatory. It's antispasmodic, right? It relieves and reduces muscle spasms. It's an analgesic, right? It helps alleviate inflammation. It's an antidepressant. It's an anxiolytic, which means it helps treat anxiety. Anticonvulsant, anti-epileptic, neuroprotective, cardiovascular, cerebrovascular systems. It helps with brain function. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that in just a second. What does valerian do? It helps you sleep. Now, when you sleep, there's these in your brain cells, right? There's these nerve receptors, and on these nerve receptors, you have GABAA, right? It's on the cell, but it needs GABA, it needs GABA, right? So that it can decrease your brain function and let your body know that it's time to go to sleep at night. How many of you have like a racing mind when you're ready to go to sleep? Like your mind is just think, I can't go to sleep. You need valerian, right? Because it calms those neurons down. So GABA, right? GABA, there's a special spot on the brain, right? And the GABA attaches to it. And GABA's job is to calm your brain down, right? It also, which is why children need to sleep more, right? Because it increases your intelligence. So you want your brain to shut down at night. Now think about this. If you have an increase, right, of the neurons and they don't shut down, what diseases might one get from that? Alzheimer's, dementia, schizophrenia, right? And all these other types of diseases of the mind. So you need valerian. Now, think about it if you're sick, right? Let's just say if you had COVID or if you had the flu. Wouldn't the thing that your body need most of all would be what? The mullein is going to keep your airways clear, right? And the valerian is going to do what? It's going to calm you down and give your body the ability to sleep and to heal. So valerian is amazing, right? So if serotonin and norepinephrine are broken down too quickly, so valerian stops this process of breaking down norepinephrine and serotonin so that your brain has mental clarity. You're going to be able to sleep better. I got my wife on this so that when she goes to bed, she goes to sleep. It's good. Then I can stay up. No, I'm kidding. So, valerian, right? Diseases linked to overactive neurotransmitters. We already mentioned some of them: epilepsy, anxiety, schizophrenia, mania, ADHD, multiple sclerosis. If your kids have ADHD, give them some valerian. And put it in the little protein balls. Or if they take capsules, we make, I think it's over there, it's called Sleep Harmony, where we put it in capsules and, we sell them online. So, I'm gonna keep moving on. So there was a person here, maybe you know them, maybe you don't, that ended up having Bell palsy. And so what that is right, it's the seventh cranial nerve that gets inflamed. And you can get that just by getting the flu. You don't have to do anything wrong. But if you get really sick, it swells that seventh cranial nerve and your face just begins to droop like you had a stroke. And so the person that will not be named, we were talking, I said, man, I am just researching. I'm researching valerian. I said, I know it sounds weird, but you need to get on the COVID herbs. And that's what I said back then. But I said, you need to get on those herbs. And usually the prognosis, when I looked it up for Bell palsy, is like 3 to 6 months for recovery. And they put you on like Valtrex or something, which is like a herpes type drug that helps with that virus. Like if you get like a cold sore, they'll give you like Valtrex, or what's the other one that starts with a V? I can't remember. But anyway, you can see there it's Vasicin. Doesn't matter. All right. Anyway, you can get it from colds or influenza or just whatever. So anyway, Alex, you took it. Oh, I'm supposed to name him. The person that was not anybody that's named Alex in this room, not necessarily the same person. But if they were here, how long did it take you to get over?
30 days, not even.
Okay. It was like a couple weeks, and you're like, I can feel my.
3 weeks, brother.
Mhm. So there you go. It's another testimony of, not to me, but to God's herbs, right? Medicinal plants and herbs. So what else is in there? Sal palmetto. We already talked about how good that is, right? Now, sal palmetto helps balance testosterone in females. So they don't get that dihydrotestosterone, the toxic testosterone that makes their hair fall out, or grow facial hair, or hair on their back, or places where you don't want hair. So, but if ladies, if you take sal palmetto, it'll balance that, and it'll keep your body from converting your testosterone. Like if you get PCOS, it's polycystic ovary, right? It'll balance that out so it doesn't convert that into that toxic testosterone. If men take sal palmetto, it keeps their bodies from converting it also, because in their prostate what happens is that all that testosterone stops going into their muscles after you reach a certain age, strength, like that muscle right there. And it ends up getting stuck into the prostate and causes all that swelling. So it's important for men, it's important for ladies, so sal palmetto, but it also, right, is anti-inflammatory. It helps with sore throats and colds and asthma and all kinds of things, migraines. And the last one that's in there is nettle. So I've given you a little bit for your little pharmacy at your house, right? So peppermint, red clover, mullein, right? Nettle, sal palmetto, right? To take these home and to use them. And you say, well, I don't know, I don't know if I can afford all that. Well, a pound of peppermint is like $10. It's like $11. And all the benefits that you would get from that is beyond what you would pay, right? Nettle is antibacterial, antifungal, right? It's so nutritive, right? It has so many vitamins and minerals, including 20 times more calcium than spinach. It has a inhibitory ability over influenza, right? So it's good for osteoarthritis, joint pain, hay fever, eczema, and all those things. So there you go. There's the immune guard that we have. But feel free to go on Amazon and get as much of it as you can. I want to move on to peppermint. Now, this was just on the news, right? The #1 herb for better gut health, according to dietitians. You know what it was? I already gave it away. Peppermint. Now, peppermint is a general stimulant. A strong cup of peppermint tea will act more powerfully on the system than any liquor stimulant, quickly diffusing itself through the system and bringing back the body's natural warmth and glow. I wake up every morning, I drink peppermint tea. It is wonderful. I drink it straight. I drink it, it looks like it's black. It looks like black coffee. I drink it so concentrated. If you look over there at the teapots. And that's what you're drinking. And it's so good for your stomach. Coffee weakens the heart muscle. Peppermint tea strengthens your heart. Coffee hinders digestion and weakens the heart and poisons the body. Peppermint tea cleanses and strengthens the entire body. Coffee stimulates the adrenal glands. By the way, if you're in menopause or perimenopause, did you know that it's so important for you to take care of your adrenal glands? Because in the female, the adrenal glands make every chemical that the ovaries make. Did you know that? Look it up. I'm not lying. And so you've got to love your adrenal glands. Love them. So coffee stimulates the adrenal glands, which release cortisol, right? And that's end up with the muffin. Constipation can lead to adrenal fatigue and cortisol imbalance. And, don't give peppermint tea to infants, but when Abby was a baby, my daughter, I gave her catnip tea in her bottle and flax oil for eye development and brain development. And the person said, you can't do that. You can't give your baby, no, she was 3, okay? It wasn't like where she was. But I would put it in her bottle, and she ended up being smarter than me, which is brain development, right? Which is why I put the flax in the catnip, and I kind of regret it now. I wish I wouldn't have done it. All right. So look at what's in peppermint, right? You have these wonderful flavonoids, this ariositrin, right? This luteolin, this hesperin, and in vitro, right? Peppermint has significant antimicrobial, antiviral activity, strong antioxidant, anti-tumor action, and some anti-allergenic potential. Right? Now, this is amazing. Like rosmarinic acid, right? RA. People are studying into rosmarinic acid now. This is a naturally occurring compound found in peppermint, and rosemary is where rosemary gets its name, right? And it has this ester of caffeic acid. Now, it's not caffeine, it's caffeic acid. It's something totally different, right? But it has this antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial action, right? Anti-aging. How many of us need anti-aging? I do. Antidepressant, neuroprotective. But I want to go on. Look at rosemary has 987 milligrams of rosmarinic acid. But look how much peppermint has. Peppermint has 1,734 milligrams of rosmarinic acid in it. So it's so powerful. You know, and you're getting all those antioxidants. Just moving on here. Moving on. All right. I think we're going to stop right there. I have a little bit of time left, and what I'm going to do, by the way, that's our website, and no, it's not. That's my Facebook site, and we have over 3,000 followers, and we started like 8 months ago. So the Lord is really blessing. And like I said, we crank out that a blog article every week. Also, we just now ended up on Amazon. So that's a blessing. Although we're not live yet on Amazon, but let me tell you, it's like going to school to get on Amazon. And has anybody ever heard of Horrocks in Lansing?
Yeah.
We're going live in Horrocks now, so that is also a blessing. So just want to share with you a little bit of the joy. Now on the Herbal Rich website, herbalrich.com, you'll see here at the bottom the Herbal Rich Journal, and that's where you're going to get a lot of your resources. Look at this is the one that's coming out this Tuesday. Don't tell anybody. Lecithin, the overlooked nutrient your cells depend on. Here's maximizing herbal potency. I was telling you about yogurt. Here's the threefold cord. You know, here's the thing. If you think that herbs are going to be some kind of magic pill, and you're going to not get your sleep, and you're not going to eat right, and you're not going to exercise, you might as well not even take herbs. You know what I'm saying? You got to get that. You got to get it all together. Right? Herbs are going to work to balance you out, but if you're purposely unbalancing yourself, then herbs aren't going to help much. Okay? And then you say herbs don't work. That's not true. We got to look at the whole process of it. But there is the article on PCOS, right? Autoimmunity, and whole plant vitamins, herbal formulas. These are just, but it goes on and on and on and on. And I just want you guys to be able to have that. So if you signed up and gave me your email, you'll get that notification every week. You'll get those articles. Here's men and their metabolism, rosacea, thyroid. And next week, we're going to be talking about analgesic herbs. So I'm coming back. By the way, raise your hand if you want me to bring that soup. Okay, you want to try the soup? Some of you are like, I don't know about that. Oh, I want to try that. But if you go, we're making salve next week. Okay? Now,
Who is?
you guys, if you want, if you sign up for it, And basically, if you sign up for it, I'm coming back. If you don't sign up for it, I'm not coming back. Okay? But on there, there's this little, under the top, under plant-powered balms, salve making kit. At the back. There you go. There you go. So it's $20, and that's for the supplies. We're going to use calendula that I grew in my own garden this last year, and plantain, and comfrey. How many of you ever heard of comfrey? Okay, comfrey is amazing. And we'll talk about all about these. I don't want to talk about them now, but we'll talk about them all next week. But comfrey that I grew in my garden, and poplar, white willow, which is, white willow has salicylic acid in it. It's good analgesic, takes away pain. So it's a good salve. We're going to put those in there. Anyway, we're going to make it together, and you know, we'll have some fun doing that, and then we'll talk about why these herbs are so good for you and all that stuff. So that's on the website. If you want to give, you know, $20 cash, if you brought cash, that's fine too. You just need to take your name so we know that you paid. So either way, you can use your credit card on mine, or you can just give Wendy or Alyssa the $20. But I need to know. So I need to know so I know how to prepare for next week. Okay. Now, to end, let's see. I'm going to take a drink of tea. Can I have the teapots that have been going? Hopefully they're still going. Hopefully they're nice and hot. Now, how hard is it to make tea? How many of you have anything like this? This thing is wonderful. And all you got to do is sit it on here, right? Set the temperature. I'm going to set it for 185, and I'm going to hit start. So if you want, if you need like a liver cleansing tea, liver cleanse. So well, just one if they're warm. Is it warm? Hot? It's got to be hot. So in here is dandelion root, milk thistle, and peppermint. So this is a French press. Just going to pour that in there. And so we're going to redeem the French press. People use it for coffee, but we're going to use it for tea. So that's for liver cleanse. That's for dandelion, milk thistle, and peppermint. And we're going to just put that on there. And look at that, it's already making tea already. That's easy, isn't it? Now, if you want a weight loss formula, we're going to use elderberry. Elderberry is full of microbiome for your gut that just eat fat in your intestines. Okay, yummy. You'll take that. Now this, you guys know this one, right? That just comes off. You guys are just waiting for me to drop this all over the place, aren't you? All right, so we got elderberry. What else we got here? We got reishi mushroom. They did reishi mushroom is an adaptogenic herb. It's a mushroom, of course, but they did research on reishi mushroom. They fed it to overweight mice that were eating McDonald's, the equivalent of McDonald's every day, and they lost weight. They gained. Now, I'm not saying that you guys should go out there and get reishi mushroom and eat McDonald's. But it shows benefits for weight loss. There's dandelion leaf to help with, right, to get your lymph nodes moving, right, and your kidneys going. And so this is focused on your metabolism. I'm going to put that in there and switch that around a little bit. Look at this beautiful thing going on. Oh. Who wants to be brave? I got some honey in here. Who wants to try some liver cleanse? Who wants to, okay, the guy in the back, that was the first one. Wait a minute. You gotta make sure you turn it to the little icon that says pour. I got a cup for you. The honey is already in there. All you gotta do is stir it. If you don't like it, don't say anything. All right, this one's going. And all right, that one's going to brew a little bit. What about heart? What about heart and blood pressure? I take my Cardio Ease every day. What's in here? We got hawthorn berries, which are good to help lower your blood pressure. You have hibiscus, and you have olive leaf, right? That helps relax your blood vessels to help them expand. As you get harder, what?
How long do herbs last before their potency is gone?
Okay, good question. Oh, by the way, if you have questions, ask. Now's a good time. So, if you get powders or something like that, and powders are really bad for making tea. But leaves usually a year. Roots can last anywhere from 2.5 years. Okay. So here's this cup. My wife's beautiful cup. Isn't that wonderful? This is for strengthening your heart and blood pressure. It goes in this thing. Assistant, I need assistance. All right. This is looking good. All right, this one is for energy. This one is nettle, ginger, and peppermint. So this would be good to drink in the morning. Throw away the coffee. And if you notice, I'm using different. What do you think? Did you try it?
Good.
Too hot? Okay.
No, that's good.
It feels like it kind of helps clear your respiratory system a little bit too. I took a sip of it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just showing you like a plethora of different ways to make tea. This was a couple dollars off of Amazon, right? Just a little. Yep. So I'm going to take some more of that hot water. I'm going to pour it into this cup. And this is for energy. Yep. All right. More honey. Thank you, honey. All right. What was this one? This was cardio, and I need to put the water in now. All right. Who wants to try that? Cardio? Okay. Give this man a napkin because I got some honey on the handle. Yeah. All right. Who would like to try the weight loss? Okay. You got 2?
3. You split it between several cups?
There's enough in here. If you guys bring me a cup, I'll.
Yeah, let it steep for just a little bit.
Needs a paper towel to sit that on, but give it like 3 minutes. Is it? I need 2 cups and 2 spoons.
Oh, we have an assistant. You're
So if you look up elderberry online, okay. Weight loss. There's no honey. Need some honey? All right, let's put a little bit of honey in there. are using real Michigan honey. All right, this is the elderberry, the reishi mushroom, and the dandelion. There you go.
Who wanted these?
Little honey.
Who else wanted one of these?
Oh, she's got one. I heard somebody else say it though.
Is there anybody else?
Yes, you got it.
Did I give you honey? All right. This is the energy. Who wants the energy?
I'll get my cup.
You don't need energy.
Just take the cup, there's honey in there, and here, use this.
Okay.
And this little plate to set it on.
You need a margin.
All right. All right, so we have one more, and this is mental clarity. Now, this was a cup, this is a beautiful cup that I got offline. It comes like that, and has a little lid with it. Yeah. I asked my wife which one she wanted. There was another one, it was a travel mug, it had a travel lid. She took that one and left me this one. All right, so you can see making tea, or just we're doing it right here. It's really easy to do, right? And I tell you, one of the best places to get it is Amazon. You know, if you don't like that, you can go directly to the supplier. But one of the best places is Frontier Herbs. Frontier Co-op. I'll show you. Frontier Co-op, yeah. All right, so this is mental clarity. This is ginkgo, rosemary, lemon balm, and that's it. So lemon balm keeps you calm. It keeps your mind calm, right? Rosemary enhances your focus, and ginkgo increases brain circulation. Any other questions? We're wrapping up here.
So some of these are in tea form, and the same thing is in pill form as well?
You can do either or. Well, here's what I like to do when I wake up in the morning. I'll take my cardio herbs. I'll take 5 or 6 of them. And then I'll drink it down with peppermint tea. So and I'll take it with my flax. So the herbs and the glycosides and all those plant chemicals react with the herbs that you're taking in the capsules, and it just makes a more potent combination. And it all goes into your stomach, which, remember, your body is an extractor, right? Your liver, breaks down those fats, the liver, and your acid, your stomach acid breaks down all. It's the same stuff that they use, like at a factory, to try to get the chemicals out to extract it. God put it all in your body.
How do people, if everyone is interested, can they have private talk with you about,
So if you look on, what is that? Somebody making like pterodactyl. If you go on my website, you'll see right here, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, over consultation and packages. So the consultation is the first step, and then you're going to need herbs. I'm not just going to tell you about it, but I'm going to recommend. I'm going to say, okay, let's make some herbs. Let's put them in capsules so you can take those every day. This is what I recommend, because I'm not only taking, I'm taking also another course in holistic healthcare. Okay, so you need to also, I'm gonna say, this is the diet you should be on. This is what you should be, you know, and it's not rigid, you understand what I'm saying, but I make recommendations. This is the herbs you should be on, this is what you should be drinking, and this is what you should be avoiding, right? Now, everybody says, that's wonderful, until they look at this right here. It's the intake form. And, you know, the person that I was working with that said, you know, their kidneys went up 12 points in 6 months. He said to me, nobody has ever done this with me before. Nobody has ever looked at my blood. What is that? I just put brain. No, thank you. Who said that? Thank you. The nurse. They said, no one's ever looked at my labs. No one's ever looked at, you know, me in this kind of way and broke down everything for me and explained it all. And that's what I do. So I don't know if I can download, it'll actually download. So you go there and then you hit download. And so now it's downloaded onto my computer. Yeah. And if I go here, let's see.
Where was that picture taken? It's beautiful.
Which one? Oh,
The one on the screen.
I think it's Colorado.
I was gonna say, it looks like.
Yeah.
All right, here's the intake form. So basically, I get your family history, if there's any heart disease or any of that. What your issue is, what your problem is, of course, right? And then list of surgeries, list of allergies if there's any, and then medications that you might be currently on, and then what type of diet, and how you're sleeping, you know, what you're drinking, if you're getting on any tobacco or anything like that. And then there's a disclosure, right, that basically it's like a HIPAA, you know, that it's private and it doesn't go anywhere type thing. It has to be signed, consultation fee, client privacy, client responsibilities. So part of this is I'm consulting, I'm also learning from you. It also goes toward my schooling. And so, like, I've had a person, like, they said, yeah, I want to do this. And then when I gave them the consultation form, they never filled it out. Or, you know, we're supposed to stay, there's a relationship supposed to be made there. So I'm supposed to get with you, let's just say, you know, first time we talk about what you need, second time after, you know, we get your protocol, third time to see how you're doing, and then the fourth time to see if there's any changes. Now, when it comes to what I'm doing, you know, making sure there isn't any changes in it. Let's just say the doctor puts you on a medication, right? You're going to go back to the doctor and say, you know, it's not working for me, or I feel dizzy when I take this, or something is not right, or you're saying, oh, it works great. It's the same thing with herbs. You got to let me know how you're doing. Does that make sense? So it's all part of the package, and I'm just letting you know up front. I would love to consult with anybody here, but it's also, you know, it's a relationship. Go ahead.
So me and my husband, we take the COVID herbs. I'm wondering, are those safe for our children? And
So
what
it depends on the
about-
age,
Okay.
you know, but yeah, they're safe for kids. It just would be a lesser dose. Yeah.
What would you,
I would say 3 and over.
okay, and how much?
Well, I would say 2.
Okay.
2, and I would check it out, you know, like twice a day,
Okay.
something like that. Like, and with their meals.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead. Any other questions?
What's the max you can take
Of
for
what?
the COVID herbs? Like
Oh,
one dose. Take like 10 out of them?
I've taken like 8.
if it were me, see, so we're looking at herbs in a different way, right? We're looking at them as food, as a whole plant. So not as an extract. So yes, I have taken 10 COVID herbs. You know, people take the COVID herbs. What is it called again? Why can't I remember what it's called?
Immune guard.
Immune guard. You guys remember better than I do. That's embarrassing. So, the immune guard, what people will tell me is they're like, wow, you know, I had the flu and I got done with it in a day. Are you sure those COVID herbs, if I really need them, Immune Guard herbs really work? I said, next time try it without it and see how you do. You know? But yeah, so it depends, you know. I have a lady, she's taking them, and she said, I haven't gotten sick all year, and she's just maintaining at a certain. So the time to take them is like now, right? And make sure your immune system stays up. But if you're in dire need, you know, I would never recommend publicly to take 10, but I've taken 10 myself. Multiple times in the day.
I may have missed it, but what would be the best thing to take for memory loss or retained memory, that kind of thing?
So rosemary would be good, ginkgo would be good, and lemon balm would be good. But you know, one of the best it would be the valerian, because when you reset yourself every night and you put that together with sleeping at nighttime, and you use that GABA, right, to shut your brain off. So the sleep harmony would be really good for that. It's going to increase your intelligence, and let's just say you wake up with this mental clarity. You know, you treat that in the morning. You're going to have a powerful combination. You know, but sleep deprivation is terrible. You know, on the mind. Any other questions?
That Frontier Co-op that you mentioned for the teas, is there more information, like, is there a website?
Yep, here, let me get that for you. Good question. Let's see, I think it's in the beginning. Okay. Oh, by the way, if anybody wants to order anything, if you put these codes in, you'll get 25% off and no shipping. So, Herbal Rich Gold 25 and gold shipping.
For Frontier or?
No, for me.
Okay.
I don't have anything to do with Frontier. So there's Mountain Rose Herbs, and that's a good one. Pen Herb.
Yeah, right.
Here's Frontier Co-op.
You need to put it up on the.
Oh.
I was waiting for the code.
Yeah.
So there, if you take a picture of that, those are the codes you can use. For my website, it'll give you 25% off.
Free shipping.
And free shipping.
Or will you bring it just next week?
And I can bring it just next week. If I have it here, it's over there right now.
Okay.
You're free to take it with you. All right, so here's Mountain Rose Herbs. These are just resources you might, and all of these are available on Amazon. Here's Frontier Co-op. But look here, this is Amazon. This is the peppermint leaf. It's a pound, and it's $11.47. I'm telling you, for the benefits.
So what about organic versus non-organic?
I believe Frontier is organic, and if you can get organic, but it's not listed like that on. So herbs aren't listed like a farm would be. So when you're talking about herbs, it's either wild crafted, so they'll either go out in the wild and they'll pick it, which sometimes, yeah, if anybody wants to pass that around, but that's the peppermint. So depending on the herb that I'm wanting, I like wild crafted herbs. You know, if they're responsibly wild crafted, if they go out in the wild and they pick it, you know, it's in a safe area. And so in all my herbs, all my capsules, we have to get a safety sheet that comes with each one to make sure there's no lead, no heavy metals, no poisons, you know, that it's, so a chemical sheet that comes with everything. And that I have to have. So I have all that. So wild crafted, or you get organic, which means it's grown in help me.
Kind of like a farm.
Help me, I've talked so much I can't. I need some brain nerves.
Try that tea.
I need to have some of this tea. This is the mental clarity, right? This is the last one?
Yeah.
Who wants that?
You.
Besides me. Anyway, Alyssa. Oh, and by the way, if you buy something like this, the lid,
I have a question,
yeah,
for Wendy, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
About your personal testimony with lupus and fibromyalgia and the herbs. You could tell me more about that.
Yeah, so I didn't even know what was happening. All I knew is that one day I finally tried to soldier on, and one day I couldn't get out of bed. So I was able to get into the doctor. She did the labs. It came back lupus, and I was losing my hair, weight loss. Just the fatigue was the worst, and so anyway, of course, you go to a rheumatologist 6 months later. That's about as soon as you can get into one in Michigan, and they just confirmed, what it was, and then the first thing they want to do is, they put you on steroids. So I really didn't want to do that. I felt like I wasn't horribly awful, but I knew I had to do something. So we started researching, and we tried a few different variations until we landed on one. And I was one of those people, like I took 4 in the morning for it, because you're so desperate. You want to feel, you want to feel good. And I knew I wasn't going to do that all the time. But after it was probably about 4 months. I started noticing my hair was growing. I couldn't even grow my hair. I was bald. And I started noticing my hair was growing in. I started noticing I was, had a little bit more energy. And and it's gradual. That's what he says. It's not a quick fix. It does take time because those herbs are trying to attack, and now they have to replenish and then build up everything that's been depleted. So I think it's been 2.5 years that I've been in remission, and I don't even go to the rheumatologist. I don't even.
That's awesome.
so it's the Her Balance,
It's the Her
Her
Balance.
Balance that we sell
Plus, I
that
was
came out of that.
menopause at the same time. So I was a hot mess. And but yeah, it's definitely so. It's part of my regimen. I take core capsules every day, and I can tell if I don't take them for a couple days. I can tell.
You start feeling lethargic
Yeah,
again.
yeah, and my gut doesn't feel good, and yeah, you just kind of feel sluggish. But yeah, I was able to grow my hair back, and
Well, praise the Lord.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm just gonna say this. I was like, whatever. I was major skeptic. I thought it was a bunch of hooey and whatever. There's some of it, like, okay, I can see the benefits of some of that, but he really he has brought me a long way. Doing my own reading, I had to find out for myself. I'm just one of those people. But just doing my own researching myself about lupus and menopause and fibromyalgia and holistic, type things. And now you are seeing that these doctors that are incorporating more into therapy for lupus and menopause, perimenopause. They're finding the value in that. So I've come a long way. I am more of a believer now than I ever was, only because I lived it out myself. I actually, when he said he experimented on me, it was an experiment. So, but no, I'm a believer now. Yeah, I still get skeptical. Is it? So I read for myself, and I always encourage people to do that also. And there's so much more information out there now than there ever has been. Cleveland Clinic and I think Toledo Hospital, some of the big ones have really started publishing a lot more journals and information. So it's more easily available.
Yes,
You do third-party testing for potency and purity for the ingredients?
yes, that's what I was thinking for asking that, so I can clarify. So every herb that I use has to have a data sheet on it with third-party testing for heavy metals, testing for purity, testing for all of that, and I have to maintain that. if you look at all the herbs, if you look at each bag, it has a lot number on it. And so each one, I have to document, right, to make sure it's, they call it CGMP, Current Good Manufacturing Practices, and FDA compliance, Food and Drug Administration, to make sure that I have to have that information on everything. So it's all by lot number, and then, you know, so I can't, I'll tell you this, I can't buy from Frontier. I can't because they don't provide those data sheets. And so what they're saying is we're not taking responsibility. We want to just sell by our own brand name. I have to buy from people that will sell to manufacturers. And those are the people that do the third-party testing before they're able to sell anything like that.
What company is that?
Well, there's a lot of them, but most of them are out of California. Let me go back and some of the companies that I had up there online. So, Pacific Botanicals, Mountain Rose, and Penn Herb. That's the only one that I found that is actually that is in Virginia. The rest of them are on the West Coast. Yeah. Any other questions? Let's see. I'm really happy. You know, this is a 2-hour meeting, and
Stay here all day then.
yeah, go ahead.
So, how about endometriosis? Do you have any,
PCOS.
PCOS, but endometriosis, did you ever encounter any?
You're the first person that would ever mention that to me. So what I would do is I would research that, you know, and see if there's any like cross duplicating of herbs that we're already using, and if not, or if there's, you know, by themselves, you know, anything new that I would have to research and find out about for that specific, you know, condition. Thank you. Anything else?
I have the same question.
Oh yeah.
She's got it.
Because I have endometriosis.
I'm sure. You know, I'm sure there's something. I mean, God is wonderful, and you know, there's something out there. It's just you're the first person to mention it to me. You know, there is one. You know, herbs can't fix everything, and you know, muscular dystrophy. You know, the muscles need different to be able to heal, and there's no plants out there that have different in them. And so, you know, because I was speaking to a mom and dad, you know, their kids have muscular dystrophy, and so we had to come at it a different way. Instead of, you know, like if you have multiple dystrophy, if something would happen and you would get an injury, you wouldn't be able. They wouldn't be able to repair that because there's no different in their muscles, right? So then we have to look at it a different way, and that was how do we stop the inflammation and stop so that we can not need so much repair, you know, to stop the, what do you want to call it?
Atrophy?
Well, the damage in the muscles, because that's the problem with muscular dystrophy. If you get damage, then it doesn't heal. So, but if we can stop the inflammation, so you got to come and kind of come at it at a different angle, you know. But God is wonderful. You know, for the majority of illnesses out there, God has something in the plant kingdom. So I'm sure there's something for that. I just have not done any research on that yet, which is why I'm doing my clinicals. Anything else? You guys have been wonderful. I'm glad we made friends.
Thank you for.
Is there a recipe for the protein bars that you guys are willing to give
Now,
us?
make sure you take your little bags.
It's in your bag.
It's in the bag.
Yay, thank you.
But Wendy, you want to tell them? Come over here and tell them what your. She changed it a little bit.
I used, instead of the sunflower seeds, it says to grind up the sunflower, I used oats, the oats from the co-op that had flax and sunflower seeds and everything. I don't know if you buy those, but you can use, you know what I mean, oatmeal, oats, whatever. And then I just zipped them up a little bit in the what do you have? Yes, and just in the food processor. And I use that instead of the sunflower seeds. So you kind of just make it your own. The key is the moisture, the peanut butter and honey. Make sure that you get enough of that it sticks together. But otherwise, you can make them. I added the cranberries and the grapes and dark chocolate, and I zipped that up a little bit in the food processor, and yeah, just kind of make it your own.
So it's kind of like you can use that recipe, but if you have the ashwagandha or the ginseng or the dandelion, you know, put it in whatever kind of protein ball you want to. Just make sure it tastes good.
Yeah, yeah.
I have my business cards up here if anybody wants to contact me privately in an email. So those are here. How did you guys like the tea? Did anybody get a bad tasting tea? Oh, you loved it? Anybody coming back next week?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, we need to pay this.
What time is it next week?
Bring your friends.
Same time.
You might have to. We're not gonna take it.
So you're not coming, is what you're saying?
No, I'm gonna try to come,
But not make the food.
Are you taking magnesium?
Well, I'm paying them for this.
Okay.